Hi guys, I'm EVM and welcome back. Now, something a little bit different this time because that isn't a full electric vehicle. It's a PHEV, or plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, as we call it in EV lingo. Now, a few people will be going, hang on a minute, you've got a petrol engine on the channel? Well, yes, because it's still relevant. Plug-in hybrids, maybe not in a few years, but right now they are still the only option for some people if you want something electrified in your life. Not everybody, even if they're willing to go to extreme inconvenience, can own a full EV. So I thought I'd look at this, which is the new Megane. It is, as I said, a plug-in hybrid, and it's the estate version. So in terms of a family car, which is basically what it is, it's kind of a Ford Focus alternative. How does this fare against the others? Now, due to COVID and various other things that are going on with car events this year, not got a huge amount of time to do the filming on this one, so I'm going to have to do it a little bit ad hoc and just point and shoot. It's going to be one of those videos, I'm afraid. So I'm going to have a look around the outside, the inside, and then let's take it for a spin, even though the wheel is on the wrong side of the car, so that's going to be a bit confusing on British roads. Now, of course, on cue, it starts raining, but we're going to plod on. Right, the front. It's kind of bulbous. You do get these kind of cool C-shaped headlights at the front though. Massive Renault logo, just in case you wonder what car it was. Honeycomb front, little kind of air vents there next to each wheel. So it's got a lot going on. Got a little bit of a kind of a bulge in the bonnet there. You can just about make it out on camera. Yeah, and I think it's got that usual French chicness. This is the RS line, which has replaced the GT line. You can see there's a badge. And obviously this is the estate, and I don't know, is it me, is it my age, but I actually think estates look nicer than the hatchbacks. So yes, this is clearly highly spec'd. You've got the nice alloy wheels, you've got these nice silver roof bars at the top, bit of silver highlights along the side there, and yeah, I think it's actually, well, it's a nice French looking car. What's more to say? From the back, you've got this kind of wraparound, kind of red band, LED headlights, of course, Megane badging here with the silver highlights, Renault badge, and a few fake exhaust tips. I'm guessing that's what they're designed to look like. Not sure about that one. But yeah, it's kind of standard estate looking. It's not something that's going to end up on somebody's wall as a poster child, as it were, but I don't think it'll look out of place on anybody's driveway. Looks pretty nice. Now, of course, as this is the estate, let's have a look at the boot. It's quite heavy. Yeah, that's a pretty big one. Let me just take that tonneau cover off for you so you can see it. There we go. So it goes quite far back. And I believe the batteries for the plug-in hybrid are under the rear seat, so you do have a little bit of storage there for your plug. So yeah, it's not massive as far as the estate goes. I'd say something like an Octavia estate is a bit bigger, but kind of different cars. So yeah, lots of storage there. Probably do a nice camping trip in this. Let me just shut the boot now. That's quite heavy. Right, quick look on the inside before I show you around properly. Got nice wide doors at the rear. Plenty of leg room by the look of it, but again, I'll have a proper look around in a second. And with this being a left-hand drive car, can't speak, there's the interior. The seats, I can already tell you from driving around in this, very comfortable, but it is the sportier high-spec version, so that shouldn't come as a massive surprise. So yeah, let's have a look on the inside. Oh, dear me, nice to get in the rain. Once again, how many times do I say that on the channel? Right, we'll start off with this dash binnacle. We've got a really nice clear display there. Let me just turn the car on for you. Oh, if I can reach. There we go. So yeah, that is HD, lots of nice bright colours, very similar to the Zoe, which most people, if you've seen the video, will have noticed. And of course, this bit looks very similar, or familiar, should I say, in Renault terms as well. Steering wheel. Feels very nice, but again, this is the RS line, not the GT line, so you're going to get a few extra bits of trim around here that aren't probably standard on all models, and as it's not out yet in the UK, which is why I'm in a left-hand drive version. So yeah, we've got some nice, I will call them hard-wearing, but relatively soft-touch plastic, so the dashboard feels quite nice. This one has got a hood, but I don't think that's going to be available in the UK. I'm going to have to find out and ask. Bose sound system, you've got the touch interface, which is basically the same one as the one on the Zoe. Very quick and easy to use, and I think there's one thing with the touch system that is always the key test. can you use it without having to read the manual, basically? Can you just play around with it and figure out what you're doing? The answer is yes on this one. Nice and easy. And unlike the Zoe, it is integrated into the dashboard far, far better. The gear stick, with this obviously being a plug-in hybrid, so we do have a petrol engine involved. It's an automatic, of course. Park, reverse, neutral, drive and B mode. There's just a trigger there, so you just pull it back into whatever it is you're after. You've got a couple of USB ports, an auxiliary input and a 12-volt socket there. And of course, a place for your phone. This is the key, which... Moving back, we've got the controls for the handbrake, for example. You've got a bit of storage here, so you can move that up and down for as a cup holder, or just fill it with junk and then hide it away. That is for something that size. I've no idea what that could be used for. You've got a nice armrest here, but that doubles up, of course, as some storage, which, you know, it's not massive, but it's enough. It's enough. And yeah, I do like a car with a nice armrest. A lot of them don't have enough for me. The glove box, let's have a look at that one. Yeah, that's not too bad. You've got a few little touches here. That's like a carbon effect thing. And like I said, this is kind of soft hard-wearing plastic, so you can just see my finger indent it there maybe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to testing the sound system because it is a Bose. And these seats, it's like an Alcantara sort of feel to them. Nice bolsters, very kind of sporty inclined, and yeah, it hugs you nicely. I do like a nice kind of sporty seat. Not everyone does, but again, this will not be standard across the range, so I imagine you do have a choice. Up above, we have, of course, various controls for your lights, your SOS buttons, your reading lights, and this one has a sunroof, which is getting very, very rare these days. Nice big rear view mirror, and if I look back, not great visibility out the back, if I'm honest. Oh, I've got that mud. I'm sorry, Renault, I'm going to get it dirty. Let me get in the back. Ooh. Now, I've put this in the position for a 6-footer, the front seat. Let me just close the door. There we go. So, enough room to be comfortable as an adult, but not masses of room. So, yeah, this kind of complete one-piece section, so you haven't got a gap in the headrest there, does kind of enclose you a little bit, so you just feel a little bit like you're hemmed in the back. But other than that, you've got space for 2 adults and probably a child in the middle. 3 adults probably on a short journey only. Got these little touches on the door. Switch gear feels, you know, average. Oh, missed a little bit here. We've got some vents at the back and 2 USB ports down there for the kiddies, as well as a 12-volt adapter as well. So you can basically shove them an iPad on a long journey and that should take care of them. So yeah, that's good. I always think family cars should have power in the back so you can do the tablet thing with the kids, which, let's face it, as parents we all do. Right, let's take it for a drive now. Now in pure EV mode, you will get, apparently, according to Renault, up to 30 miles of range. I would say that 20 to 25 is more realistic. Obviously winter will affect that, how you drive will have a massive effect on it, but that's the same with any car. You know, when your manufacturer says you'll get this much MPG, you probably will if you drove it carefully enough. For me, most people say, you're never going to get that. I think it's 211 miles per gallon that you're meant to get out of this. The key to a PHEV, or well, any hybrid I guess, but mainly a PHEV, is to use as much as the electric as you possibly can. Try and do the whole journey on full electric if possible, because then you will use less fuel, your MPG will be a lot higher. You basically have to arrive home with an empty battery, pretty much, because that's the whole point, to drive an electric as much as possible. Don't just let the car do what it wants and sometimes have petrol, sometimes have electric. You want to give it all electric. That's the plan, because that's the cheapest way of driving. That's how you achieve high MPG. If, for example, you're 20 miles from home and your car says you've got 20 miles of electric range left, put it into full EV mode. Even if it runs out a couple of miles from home, it doesn't matter. You've utilised all that energy, all that electricity, all that cheap motoring. This has got just shy of 10 kilowatt hour battery. So that's how you get your range, and as I said before, it's underneath the rear seat, so you're not losing any boot space, which is good. Nice packaging. It drives really well. These seats are beautiful, I have to say, they're really figure hugging. I do like sport seats. It's almost a shame they don't do a full electric version of this, because so far I've been in electric the entire journey. and it's just really nice to drive. It does feel very strange being on this side of the road in the UK. It really does. When you put your foot down, she's going for it. There's a lot of grip there, that's good. Really put my foot down now. It's not got immense speed in full electric mode, but more than enough. Obviously I could put the petrol motor back in gear and that will give me a lot more performance. I'll give you the specs in a second. So yeah, I'm happy. It's nice, typical kind of French suspension. It's good at handling, but it's also very comfortable. It's what kind of Goldilocks suspension. It's not too hard, not too soft, just right. You got lots of safety tech on this, very similar to the Renault Zoe as well. You know, like lane avoidance and accident crash avoidance, all the usual stuff that you're getting out of the Renaults these days. So you're less likely to have an accident in this than other cars, quite frankly. So yeah, that's good. It's very safe, and as a family car, as a family man, that's exactly what you want. People don't look at safety, I think, seriously enough. They don't really put that on the wish list when they're buying a car, I find. I don't, or at least I didn't. I think people sort of go, well, I want it to be this big, I want it to have this performance, maybe cheap running costs. But how many people go, I want it to have this safety feature? It don't really happen, does it? Put your foot down. Yeah, it's pretty good. You can just hear the petrol engine kick in there. And then just as easily as it kicks in, it disappears. Now, the price of this car. That is a little bit of a sticking point, if I'm honest, because it's over £30,000 for the estate version. I mean, for now, you can only get the PHEV in estate version. It will be later on in the year before you can get the normal hatch. But I personally prefer the estate. So anyway, right, so you're looking at, I think I figured out about £7,000 to £8,000 more expensive for the PHEV over the like diesel equivalent. And over 30,000 miles, if my calculations are correct, you'll save about £1,500, maybe £1,700 on the assumption that you get the miles per gallon that Renault say you should out of this, and of course out of the diesel one as well. But it's not quite as simple as that, something that a lot of people always forget about, and something I have to mention all the time when it comes to full electric cars, because they're more expensive as well, and that's depreciation. The depreciation on this, because it's a PHEV, because of its running costs, because it can enter city centres and run on full electric mode, which will only get more and more expensive or complicated, it will hold its value better than the diesel one, certainly, and the petrol one as well. Absolutely. A fair bit better as well. So once you factor in that lower depreciation, the total cost of ownership is probably going to be less for this than it is for the diesel or petrol version. So it's a tough one. It's a tough sell, I think, because people will just look at the list price and go, nah, too expensive. Just like they do with full electric vehicles. So that's all I'll say. You still need that affordability, which is quite difficult. You know, 30 grand is a lot of money for any car, let alone a Megane. I just noticed you get little highlights under the doors. That's quite nice. Sorry, got a bit distracted there, but so yeah, it is still an affordability thing, but as I said, the total cost of ownership is ultimately what matters. So if you can afford that deposit, if you can afford the monthly payments, it's probably going to be a better financial alternative. 447 litres is the boot, if you're interested. So it's a decent size. Full LED headlights, which you probably saw outside, and 0 to 60 in 9.8 seconds. That's assuming you're in the sport mode, of course, and that will include the petrol motor as well, of course. 84 miles per hour is what you can do, where it's legal anyway, in full electric mode. So you can do short motorway journeys in full EV mode. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. 118 miles per hour top speed for those that clearly don't live in the UK. The engine is a 1.6 petrol engine, mated to the electric motor, of course, and together they produce 350 newton meters of torque. So you know, that's a lot. That's like well, that's the same as the Mercedes eVTOL van that I've recently been driving as well. So you've got plenty of torque for as much weight as you want to shove in the car, so that won't be a problem. It's not going to light your pants on fire as the acceleration, 9.8 seconds to 60. It's not slow. You know, it's below 10 seconds, but it's not exactly hot hatch either. But in family car terms, it's more than enough. And in EV sort of acceleration, as I kind of probably showed you, it's all right. It's not quite as quick as a full EV would be, but I don't think most people will be bothered, to be honest. You're not really going to want to put your foot down in full EV mode only very often, I suspect. There's two models of this, the Iconic and the RS line. This obviously is the higher spec version. So just two to choose from. That makes it nice and simple. And plenty of features. I'd always go for the top spec model personally, because I think you get that money, the extra money you spend on the car, I think you get that back when you resell it. And it's just nicer to be in something which has got lots of toys. I am a bit of a tech toy geek, if I'm honest though, so yeah, if you can, I'd go for the top spec one, seats especially. The warranty is pretty good actually as well. You know, French cars have always got that jokey cliche, haven't they, that they're not very reliable. You get a 2-year unlimited mileage warranty on the whole car, or 5-year 100,000 mile warranty, and that's 8 years 100,000 mile on the battery, which is as I said, just shy of 10 kilowatt hours. So yeah, effectively a 5-year warranty, 100,000 mile, which by today's standards is kind of normal. Some are 7, some are still 3, but it's long enough, I think, for most ownership examples out there. This for me is the sort of car that gets bought by somebody that isn't really that bothered for cars, and I don't mean that in an insulting way, but they just want a family car, a way of getting from A to B, something nice. This is comfortable, this is spacious, you know, it's quiet. It's all the things I think somebody that's not a car fan, like myself, you know, I'm crazy about cars. I think you will, you know, if you would put yourself in that category, well, you know, I have a car, but they're not an interest. Like my wife, I think she'd love this car. I do apologise if it's, as I said, a little bit rushed, disjointed, this sort of video, but it's how these events are working at the moment, given the constraints that the manufacturers have to work under, the time constraints. So hopefully this will be enjoyable. Hopefully it will tell you everything you need to know. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you soon. And yeah, bye-bye.